Hi, my name is Saunteel Jenkins. I'm a candidate for Detroit City Council. Lifelong Detroiter, born and raised here, a graduate of DPS, Cass Tech. When I left Cass Tech, I went to Wayne State where I received my bachelor's and master's in social work. Right now I'm working as the director of a substance abuse treatment program for men over in Cass Corridor called Mariners Inn. Prior to being at Mariners Inn, I was a national business development director for an education company. At Platform Learning, we provided free tutoring for low-income kids under the No Child Left Behind Act. And with Platform, I worked in major cities across the country, including New York, Chicago, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, and others. Prior to being at Platform Learning, I worked for Miriam Mahaffey. I was with Miriam for a total of 6 years. I was her chief of staff when I left in 2004. So I believe that I bring a diverse professional background and a good amount of experience that could help me be successful at the city council table. I decided to run because I believe at this time in our history in the city of Detroit, we need people not only with an understanding of the city and how the city works, but we need people with an understanding of public service and what that really means. I am a true public servant, and that's why I decided to get in this race. I live in the what's called the Elmwood Village District. I live in what's called the Elmwood Village District, which is Shane, Lafayette, Verner, Prince Hall Drive area near the cemetery, Elmwood Village Cemetery. And there are multiple issues in my neighborhood. It's one of those interesting areas where if you're on one side of Verner, you know, it's fairly upscale. There are lots of condos and co-ops and apartments. Then on the other side of Verner, there are blocks where with one or two houses and maybe only one is occupied. So my neighborhood is really a microcosm of the city, a city that we have, where we have small pockets of healthy communities, and then we have other pockets of communities that aren't quite as healthy. We have one grocery store in my neighborhood, and you know, finding a fresh peach on the shelves is, you know, give or take depending on the day. So that's one of the issues that I'd like to address in my neighborhood as well as across the city, having a fresh source of food that's affordable and easily accessible for, especially for senior citizens, because that's one of their main issues when I go to senior buildings. Seniors talk about just having access to fresh foods, and I'd like to make that available across the city. There are multiple ways to address that issue, one of which is providing incentives for good quality grocery stores to be located in the city. They've done it in other major cities that were identified as food deserts, such as New York. They've done it in Pittsburgh as well as Philadelphia. They're working on it right now in Chicago. So providing incentives, creating a partnership with the state to provide tax incentives for business owners who will bring a grocery store to the city of Detroit. And it does not have to be Farmer Jack or A&P. People aren't looking for the name on the building. They're looking for the products that are on the inside. So they can be small mom and pop grocery stores, and then leveraging those to force those grocery stores that are already here to do a better job providing what the people here need. The other, I just want to say one more thing on that. With when we talk about right sizing the city, which we talk about all the time, urban farming being a part of right sizing the city, that's another way to create a stream, not only a stream of fresh fruits and vegetables, but a revenue stream and a source of jobs right here in our community. It's through urban farming. Absolutely. I think we already have some great examples of small urban farms that have been successful in this community. There's one right down the street on Rosa Parks, a small urban farm that has been created on 3 or 4 vacant lots, which we have all over the city. And he's providing produce to Mudgie's. He's providing to, I believe, La Petite Zinc, the Whitney, multiple restaurants in the city. But what we can also do is, when I was a little girl, we used to have the fruit trucks that would come down the street, like the ice cream trucks. I would like to see us providing licenses, like we do for street vendors, for fruit trucks, and encouraging that kind of urban farmer versus one person coming in, buying large plots of land and making it large commercial farms. What we have to do as a city is decide what our core services are. From my perspective, public safety has to be a core service. That would be police, fire, EMS, DPW, which is garbage pickup, road maintenance, street signs, that's a core service, and code enforcement. Code enforcement would be building safety and engineering, and only certain aspects of building safety and engineering. Everything else has to be on the table. We have to talk about how we can provide those services more effectively and more efficiently. One of the things that I'd like to see happen is having unions partner with the city to create more efficient services. In Pinellas County, Florida, they were looking to save money with their city services. One of the things they did was go to their city employees and they said, listen, they had a budget deficit like we have here. We need you to find a way to provide these services more efficiently. If you can do that, we'll give you 25% of whatever you save as a bonus. They saved, the first year, they saved about $1.2 million. 25% of that went back to their employees. So if we bring the employees in on it and help them understand the benefits of working together, I think we can save money in a lot of different areas. I think it's going to have to be an option to manage some of the non-core city services, and I understand that it is not popular, and I do believe that it has to be a last resort, but with a $300–400 million deficit, I mean, we've already reached the last resort point. And again, my first preference would be for unions to be able to come to the table and show how they can provide that service cheaper and more effectively than the private sector. But it's going to have to be an option for certain areas. One specific area that I talk about often is planning and development. The real estate division of planning and development has basically just become administrators of 46,000 pieces of property. We don't do it well as a city. The city is not a real estate company, and it's something that we haven't done well for many, many years, and the problem has grown to a point where we can't control it, and we certainly can't afford it. So I'd like to see somebody come in who's an expert in that area to help us dispose of that 46,000 properties that right now drains the city tax rolls.
From your seat at City Council, what would you do to increase entrepreneurship in the city?